The little flowers fell gently from the tree, giving way in their season to the fruit soon to emerge. Carried along on the wind, they danced and wafted their way down the sidewalk near the park. A large black man sat in a wooden chair and chopped at his guitar while singing the blues. It seemed both very appropriate for New Orleans and strangely out of place, as he belted out mournfully the St. Louis blues. Some of the small flower petals settled on him, affixing to his sweat in the humid warmth of the city. Others drifted along to the park and tumbled their way slowly and gracefully into the river to be carried along by its tender summer currents. 3 little girls played along the banks of the mighty Mississippi here at the park. Their father watched over them as they were close to the water. Not far away, their mother sat at a picnic table and watched. It should have been the happiest of times, these pleasant trips to the park in the summer and watching her loved ones play, but things aren't always what they seem. Deep inside, the mother's heart was aching with desire for lost but not forgotten dreams. These moments were happy enough, but she couldn't help but wonder how long her husband would be sober this time. Once they had been young and passionately in love and looking forward to a life together filled with great dreams and aspirations. Now they were still in love, but his brokenness had become a rut in the road of life. No, it was more like a wall sometimes, blocking their way to what could have been. Nevertheless, she loved coming to the park. On the other side of the river were the large and lavish mansions of the wealthy. They were stunning and beautiful and impressive. She liked to look across and admire them. She liked to daydream what it would be like to live in one of those homes. Imagine a life prosperous and clean. Imagine a life free of obstacles of poverty and lower-class struggles. In one of the mansions far away, she thought she could see the figure of a woman looking back at her. Was it her imaginary self in that other life that she was dreaming about? Or some woman of substance and stature staring at them, wishing that the park wasn't there, wishing that the riff-raff of society weren't staining the view? Across the river, that lonely woman stood at the window until she couldn't take it anymore. She turned away from watching the family in the park and threw her coffee mug at the mirror across the bedroom. As the glass shattered, the sound of its fracturing pierced the air to be followed by the tinkling of the shards onto the hardwood floor. Briefly, at least, there had been sound, as the perfectly silent vacuum of her immaculate house settled back in, deafening to her ears. She could once again hear only her beating, pounding heart. She fell onto the bed and cried. How foolish she had been in her youth to yearn for this sort of life. She had imagined the wonder of living prosperous in one of the mansions on the hill. Now the grim realities of that life and what that life had dealt her had settled in. She was practically a prisoner in this gilded cage, ashamed to be seen in the very social circle she had once longed to be part of. Her husband, if you could call him that, was always gone on his business trip. He would be carousing and whoring at this very moment, and she knew it. Everyone in the neighborhood knew it. Everyone knew it. She was always alone, always surrounded by the deafening emptiness of this lovely and ornate tomb for the walking dead. She stayed upon the bed, weeping. How she wished she could go back. How she wished she could be part of that family across the river in the park. As she wept, the little flowers, long fallen from the tree and carried by the wind, danced playfully along her windowsill. She wept more, as if they were mocking her with their happy dance.